This lady here died in one of the houses in UMAHI's compound in Ubru in Ebonyi State.
How is it possible that the body of a young lady will be discovered, taken out of the home of a minister of the Federal Republic, and the man is going about like nothing happened?
Minister of Works, David UMAHI, is speaking out over the death of a nurse, Mary Habila, inside his own house in Ebonyi State.
And they also live in the same compound with other workers at the guest house in Asokoro, where I stay.
Hey, God. Has it gotten that bad now that they can discover dead body in the home of a politician and he will just be going about his business as usual?
Nobody can explain Nigeria to you. The story you are about to hear, most of you must have get intel from it all over social media because everybody is reacting towards it. This is Minister of Work, David UMAHI. As you can see him, pretending that he's working, missing Smith, because Peter will be bashing that how can the Minister of Work for good 3 years, there is no standard federal road. But the story behind him trying to impress Nigeria with a shovel missing Smith. Do you know there is a conspiracy theory that we are trying to unravel how a young girl died in the house of David UMAHI? And David UMAHI seems like it's nothing. She's just another rum-down girl that can die, but buying his own house is not an issue. Now, this is where we come in. I stumbled across this particular video of Adiola Fayehun, one of the most outstanding activists and a journalist that I respect so much on this social space. But she came out to narrate this whole story, and I want us to watch it together. We'll be right back.
How is it possible that the body of a young lady will be discovered, taken out of the home of a minister of the Federal Republic, and the man is going about like nothing happened? Hey, God. Has it gotten that bad now that they can discover dead body in the home of a politician and he will just be going about his business as usual? Imagine if this happened to a regular person. Wouldn't they have arrested the person by now for questioning? I don't understand. If you don't know, the lady's name is Mary Habila. She's 26 years old, for God's sake. A 26-year-old lady. She's just starting her life. How did she die? What happened inside the house of David UMAHI? When the minister spoke, he said that this woman and her friend, Anita Baski, we are looking for Miss Anita. Oh, she knows exactly what happened inside that house. She needs to come out and talk. They must not silence her. So David UMAHI said that this woman and Anita Baski were employees of the David UMAHI Federal University of Health Sciences and that they've been on secondment to the Federal Ministry of Work in Abuja. And so everybody is like, even if they were assigned to the Federal Ministry of Works, is your house now the Federal Ministry of Works? How did they get to your house? Is the ministry happening inside his house? Are all the ministry employees working in his house? Above all, what kind of assignment were they doing overnight? Because according to reports, this lady and her friend Anita Baski, both of them arrived at his house on the 26th of June. It was the 27th that they carried out her dead body. Why were they there overnight? So many questions. Another question is, how come they carried out the dead body in the middle of the night? They said it was around midnight. They were trying to take the body away. Some people started screaming. Another thing is, there are allegations that David UMAHI was there in his house when this lady died and he quickly left, and now he has not addressed that. Were you there or not? What happened? How did this lady die? Above all, if you've seen the picture, nothing suggests that this was natural. First and foremost, why was the lady naked? What happened to her clothes? Did she not wear clothes when she was coming into the minister's house? And how come there were bruises on her body, including the fact that there was blood in her mouth? What happened to this girl? How can all this happen in the home of a minister and the man has not been arrested till now? He has not been questioned. The one that is annoying me the most is the fact that this body is still under active investigation. But now we are hearing that they want to go and bury the girl fast. Meanwhile, the minister is telling the public that he is insisting that there must be autopsy. But Nigerians are alleging that behind closed doors, he's either threatening the family or that he's trying to bribe them so that they will not consent to autopsy. Because right now, it is now the family that is saying through their lawyer. The lawyer is saying the family doesn't want autopsy. What What's happening? A body that is under active investigation is not adding up. And then David UMAHI is out there saying, they should do autopsy so that people will not stop speculating. Either autopsy, either no autopsy. Nigerians know that the man's hands are not clean. A young lady with promising future walked into your home, died in your home. There was no call for help. There was no calling for ambulance or calling hospital. There was no record of them driving this girl to the hospital that she's sick, on duty or whatever. No, there was nothing like that. In fact, according to all the reports that I have seen, they didn't plan on alerting the police. But when they were carrying the dead body, they said that people found out what was happening and they started screaming. That was when his bodyguards now alerted the police. So I really want to know what you guys think is happening, because at this point, this man has done so much and he keeps getting away with all these things. You can't help but wonder, do we still have a government? By now, they should be writing books on the many, many sins of David UMAHI. And he keeps getting away with it. How? Does the president not know all that is happening with David UMAHI? When is it enough? When would Tinubu himself say, you know what? He's not the only minister. We've talked about how he destroyed the properties worth millions of dollars owned by Nigerians in the diaspora. Not just Nigerians, people of other nationals as well. People that bought property along that coastal road highway. This man, allegedly, just because they refused to bribe him, he destroyed properties worth millions of dollars. Who does that? Until now, nothing has happened to him. And then you say you want Nigerians abroad to come and invest. You want foreigners to come and invest in Nigeria. What kind of image does Tinubu think that Nigeria has when one of his ministers can do something like that and get away with it? This man has also been in the news for allegedly killing 5 engineers that were working on a project that was sponsored by the Africa Development Bank in Abakaliki, all because they did not allow him to divert this money that came from the Africa Development Bank. This man allegedly killed these 5 engineers and burnt their bodies. Till now, since 2021, their family members have been asking for justice. Not only were their loved ones killed and burnt down, they quickly buried them in Ebonyi. So till now, there are some of them that don't even know where their loved ones were buried. Just imagine saying goodbye to your loved ones, that you are going on a project, and for them to be getting a call that their loved ones have been killed and they've been buried. Hey, what are we doing? Guys, we cannot allow this to be swept under the carpet. This girl is somebody's daughter, somebody's sister. Somebody saw her through school. She's 26 with promising future. And now the picture of her dead body is circulating everywhere. This man has no fear of God. It is obvious. He should have been arrested by now. This is not a bail arrest. This is murder case that we are talking about. Murder case. And may also involve other things, because why was she naked? Above all, where is the lady that went with Mary Habila? Where is Anita? Please, who knows Anita Baski? Let's make sure that she's not silenced. She went into that house with Mary Habila. She knows what happened inside that house. From the report that I'm seeing, the police are saying that they are not convinced that Habila and Anita were employees of the university, as claimed by the minister. That's another thing. If Nigeria were to be a country that is functioning as it should, this man should be behind bars right now while awaiting trial on this murder case.
Now you listen to the details that she narrated. This is not just the first time this thing is happening in Nigeria. And as long that it affects or directly involve a political person, or even if the person is not a politician, if the person has money, so that case must be swept under carpet. Now, I want you guys to listen to Rice TV news analysis on how the father, either the PMO, I don't really know what's going on. The father said, you don't want an autopsy. Maybe they just forget the case and all of that. I just want you guys to listen to this bizarre story. We'll be right back.
Minister of Works, David UMAHI, is speaking out over the death of a nurse, Mary Haliba, inside his own house in Ebonyi State. The minister described her as a good nurse, while also calling on his lawyers to take action against individuals spreading what he calls false and defamatory reports about how she died. Speaking while inspecting work on the Calabar-Abuja Superhighway, UMAHI dismissed claims that there was any secrecy around the nurse's death, saying her family broke down the door after they couldn't reach her and immediately called doctors from the Dave UMAHI Federal University Teaching Hospital, where the nurse worked, who tried to revive her but failed. Meanwhile, Habila's father on Monday signed an affidavit at the High Court Registry in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State that the entire family rejects any autopsy on his daughter's body. In the sworn document, Habila's father stated explicitly that she served as a personal nurse to Minister UMAHI residing at his guest house in Abuja and Ebonyi State in the staff quarters. He then went on to state that while UMAHI ordered an autopsy, his family appealed against any medical investigation to leave her body and organs intact. I mean, you've seen the story trending, Ayo, and we've seen the affidavit that even the father of the deceased is saying their daughter died in her room, and that, all these stories that have been going around, whether or not there should be more investigations or not. I mean, I don't know your thoughts on the story.
So beyond the person of interest who is involved in this case, who is the Federal Minister of the Federal Republic, is that there's a human being that has lost her life in very interesting circumstances. And then there are questions being raised. And for that purpose, I believe that where someone dies in questionable circumstances or just to ascertain the nature of death, a coroner's inquest is called for. And this is what Omoyele Sowore has now called for in the public interest. We've seen what's happened in the United Kingdom, not exactly the same kind of case, but at least similar. We see how Anne Wincombe was killed, and initially was said that, okay, they'll just treat it as a normal, something that she died in her home. But on further investigation was found out that the man was responsible. Then they said, oh, it may not be terrorists in nature. Then they found out on further investigation that it was actually terrorists. It was motivated based on terrorism-related cases. So in this regard, because there's so many he said, she said, yes, I know her family has released a statement, but I believe that there's been a death of a young person. She's under 30. A death of a woman at work. There ought to be a coroner's inquest at the very minimum. And also to be able to, for the person of interest involved, absolve, at least clear his name legally. Since he said that, okay, everything was overboard, to answer the unanswered questions. Let us have a full investigation. Let us have a coroner's inquest. We need to begin to do that in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. I know that culturally, cultural sentiments would usually mean that people would not like the idea of an autopsy because of how invasive it is. Mm-hmm. But in the interest of crime and criminality, we don't have such records. We need to begin to do that. And I do believe that there's a place where the state can override the wishes of the family to actually carry out an autopsy to determine the cause of death because of the circumstances of death. We don't need any more controversies around this. Let there be a full investigation instituted, and in the interest of the public, and even in the interest of the Nigerian state, let us have a coroner's inquest on to ascertain what truly transpired. It happened at work, and it's, again, whether it be anybody, this is what I would also recommend, irrespective of who it is in question.
Young girl gone too soon, really. May her soul rest in peace. But Habila's father also made it clear that he does not wish to proceed with the investigation any further, or any investigation, requesting that his daughter's body be released for burial.
Now, everybody has spoken. I have a lot of videos to play, but maybe if it's necessary, I will make part 2. But now let's listen to David UMAHI defense. In all of this, what he's saying, let's watch it together.
And they also live in the same compound with other workers at the guest house in Asokoro, where I stay. And there's somebody whose hair is reserved for is given, as if wrong girls were transported to, a residence. And that's the impression, the person, the lawyers have been briefed, and they will take on the people that are evil and say they are fighting for the freedom of the country. Because if you intentionally did it, the death of the young lady will be far, far better than yours. Because, everybody is called at the time of God. So that lady, was a worker of Federal University Teaching Hospital. That lady was second to that ministry. The second lady is also a physiotherapist from Benue State, seconded also to the ministry, a worker in Federal Teaching Hospital. And so it's unfortunate that she passed on. When you use the death of people to create content and deceive people, it means your time is up. So I ordered that there must be autopsy. The family reported to the hospital when they noticed this. The family also reported to the police. So where is the secrecy that every people were reporting? Where is the secrecy? You know, the same moment it was discovered, her door was broken to see that she was, she had passed on. And so they invited the doctors, and the doctors came, did everything to revive her, but it wasn't possible. And then they now, took her to the clinic and they invited the police. So where is the secrecy in it? If not that people are evil, and so shall evil follow them.
You listen to what they said. You listen to the story that Arise TV News react to, and how the father said he don't want the organs of her daughter to be tampered with, and they don't want autopsy. I don't really know the family reason, but it's bizarre that in a country where they said the rule of law really works, I don't see any reason why David Umahi, in as much that is guilty or not guilty or is innocent, there must be a forensic investigation. And first, he have to be pending from his own work. They'll just first suspend him first, so that they can strip him of his power, so that it will be very easy for the panel they will set to investigate this whole issue. I stumbled across a tweet of Brett Edafe, the Delta State SP, who said that if somebody buy in your house, either is your partner or whatsoever, the first thing that they will do, they will have to arrest you and put you in police custody or prison pending on the investigation, until the autopsy proving otherwise that you have nothing to do with the person or your wife or your relative or whatsoever. In a case like this, you have nothing to do with the person's death. But unfortunately, people are now asking Brett Edafe, is it like because it's David Umahi, or is because he's a politician, or is because he's rich, that this person cannot also be stripped of his power to be arrested and put in the custody pending on the investigation? Why is it that anytime something have to do with politicians, they have a way of manipulating these whole issues so that nothing will be done? You see how this Bola Ahmed Tinubu cabinet seems to be above the law. We are still dealing on the issues of Femi Gbajabiamila. In as much I'm not trying to accuse him whether he's guilty or he's not guilty, he's innocent or he's not innocent. As long that they have accused him, the first thing a reasonable country where constitution really work is to strip him of his power, suspend him first, then let a panel investigate, either ICPC or whatsoever, investigating issues like that. But guess what? Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the one to tell you that you don't have right to investigate his chief of staff, that these campaigns of cannoning stop here. He don't want you to investigate a case that have to do with a fraud in his own cabinet. Now, we will also wait for him to release a statement for what he will say, because everything that happened is always on position. Now, this is a case of homicide. It's not just that the person back like that. You saw the video that Fayehun released on how there were bruises and all of that. It's worrisome that something like this can happen in the forest. We blame the Fulani. It can happen on the streets. We blame the police or the criminals or the cultists. Now it's happening in the house of our politicians. Now you just want to imagine where else is safe in Nigeria. You can be in the mosque, the next day, boom. You can be in the church, you can be abducted. I don't know. The way I'm talking now, the APC cabinet have a way of manipulating it and telling you, oh, it's just a politics. Can't you see the way he's talking? He's trying to blame Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What will be the action of the president in a case like this, that his own minister is being accused of murder? His own minister is being accused of fraud. His own minister is being accused of grabbing lands and giving it to judges. And the president on himself. Anyway, I don't want to say anything. I'll be waiting for you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts? What action do you think that there's no action? What's your thoughts? Peace out.